Hello and welcome to this session on what's new in opening Visual Studio Code from the web client. It's a feature which is relevant both for developers as well as consultants and support teams for investigating and troubleshooting issues. I'm Peter Boring, and with me today I have Blanca Robledo and Sotiris Dragonas. In this session, we're going to talk about new abilities for creating launch configurations and opening extensions from the client, as well as searching symbols once inside of Visual Studio Code, for instance, to investigate or to use it as a context for GitHub Copilot. But first, let's have a small recap of the overall feature. So some releases ago, we introduced a powerful ability to invoke opening Visual Studio Code from within the web client. This removed manual work and lowered the barrier for connecting Visual Studio Code to an environment, supporting increasing the developer productivity, empowering tech-savvy consultants to investigate and do light troubleshooting with limited Visual Studio Code knowledge. And it also empowers support to troubleshoot faster and lower time to mitigate. So, what did we add? To make it much easier to debug a specific environment, we added an attach option in the help and support page back in 2023 release wave 2. This supports debugging in sandboxes, as well as capturing snapshots and profile performance issues, both in sandbox environments, but also in production environments. In that release, we also added the ability to quickly go to source code, if available, for pages and table fields directly from within the page inspector on a page. Then, in the last release, we added the ability to open extension source code when it has a link to a Git repo, for instance, as a result of building it in an ALGO for GitHub pipeline. And hopefully you're using this or another DevOps solution to automate and streamline your development and deployment lifecycle. If you want to know more about these features, watch the launch event sessions that we did on this in 2023 release wave 2 and 2024 release wave 2. And we'll provide links in the description for this video. So, what have we added in this release? Blanca, can you tell us more?
All right, so thank you, Peter. Now let's dive into the features that have been added in this release. So we actually have 3 new capabilities to the Open VS Code functionality, and this comes as a result from the feedback that we have received from you. So please keep that coming, and we can make some new features. So these new 3 features are, first of all, we have added the ability to generate launch configurations that match your environment directly from help and support and also extension management. We have also added the ability to go to extension management, select the extensions that you want, and then format them as dependencies so that you can use them across your projects or just share them. And then along that same line, we have also added the ability to download those selected dependencies directly on your VS Code project, so then you can have the symbols already on your VS Code project with a single click. So, looking a bit closer into the generate launch configurations action, this is an action that again is in help and support and extension management. And when you click on that, then what it does is that on your VS Code project, it either creates or updates your launch configurations to match your environment. So you don't have to edit any of the parameters. And with this, you can already, if you have a sandbox environment, you have the configurations to publish and attach debugger, since these are only available for sandbox environments. And then you can also have the configurations to download symbols and snapshot debug. That's both for sandbox and production environments. Next up, for the next capability, if you go to extension management, you can just select some extensions, and you can just click on show and copy. And what this will do is just create a pop-up like this, so you can have your extensions and view them as dependencies. And you can just copy that, use it on your project, or just share it with other developers and use it, for example, to troubleshoot your environment. And then, last of all, we have also added the ability to, once you select these extensions, if you want them directly on your VS Code project, then you can just click on downloading VS Code. And this will download the extensions on your VS Code project, so you can also get started to code against them and use them as references. Or you can just go ahead and explore what is the code for those extensions like. So that was it for the new capabilities. Now let's go ahead and see them in action. Yeah, so this is my new preview environment, and I want to get started and develop an extension here on this new version, or I just want to test my existing solutions on the new environment. So instead of having to go to VS Code and updating my configurations, I can do that with a simple click. If I go to Help and Support, then I will find this new action, Generate Launch Configurations for this environment. And I can just go ahead and click on that, and this will open VS Code, and it will also generate, in this case, because I didn't have one already, a new project from scratch. And if I look into my launch configurations, I see they're already there. They are auto-generated to match the parameters from my environment. So I didn't have to do absolutely nothing here, and I have a project already ready to, for example, publish or download symbols with these configurations. So again, that was a super simple way to get started. Now let's say my project also depends on some other extensions, and I want to code against them, and I want to reference them. So again, instead of going to my VS Code project, having to go to map.json and having to manually enter all this information about the extensions, I can just simply go to Extension Management. I can just select the extensions that I want to use in my project. So let's say, for example, this for over here. And then I can just go to Developing VS Code, get selected as dependencies. Let's say I want to show and copy. In this case, I already see this text, which I can just go ahead, copy it, and put it in my project. Or if I already want this in my project, then I can just go ahead and click Download in VS Code. And again, this will lead me back to my VS Code project. And then if I inspect my app.json, I see all of these dependencies have already been entered into my project. And I also see that they are being downloaded. So if I look at my AL packages, I already have the symbols for these extensions. So I can already get started and code against them. Or if I want, I can also go ahead and explore what's in these extensions. Of course, that's if the IP of the partner permits that. And luckily, we have also added the ability to explore this in VS Code. And that's something that Sotiris will show us next.
Thank you very much, Blanca. Let's dive right into it. I'm going to show you a feature we have added that lets you figure out exactly what is inside your dependencies in terms of available tables, pages, and so on. So let's suppose I am developing a new extension and I want to use the number series functionality, and I want to see what is available in terms of number series. I can use the combination Ctrl+T, which is go-to symbol in VS Code, and try to figure out what is available for a number series. What I just need to do here is to do number series. And then you will see we get results from all of our dependencies on number series. I can just navigate directly to the page for the number series and figure out exactly what is inside it through the symbols. This works for symbols which are coming from your apps and Microsoft as long as the source code is available to debug. Now, let's look at another very good use of this. This can also be used in tandem with Copilot. Let's try to use, for example, Copilot to ask some questions about the customer table. If I go to Copilot and I ask it, what is in the customer table? Then what I will see is Copilot doesn't really know what is the customer table because it doesn't have it in context. So symbols allows us to give this required context to answer this question. What I can do is that I can go here and I can say what fields are in the And I can use this special keyword symbol and search for the customer table. Now, by clicking here, Copilot gets access to the customer table, and it is able to use it to inform the answer that it's going to give us. So now Copilot has the available context to answer us exactly what fields are inside the customer table. And it doesn't need access to the entire source code in order to provide this. Even just having the symbols available will give it a much more informed answer rather than if it didn't have the context at all. So it is a very powerful tool to use to help you collaborate with Copilot effectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sotiris. So that's all. Thanks for joining this session and staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed the improvements that we made to make it easier to open Visual Studio Code from the web client, whether to investigate, troubleshoot, or develop against one or more extensions in the environment. So you can even access source code if the publisher has granted you that via their IP resource protection policy. Enjoy the rest of the launch sessions. Thank you.